podcast where we interview industry professionals who act down. My name is Rhavynn Drummer.
And I'm Tiffany ROSHAE.
Oh, thank you all for being here today. This is an exciting one.
Mm-hmm.
But before we start, let's have a little libations.
Please.
If only we could have an alcoholic libation for this. Well, you can.
I may.
Thank you, Patrick.
Need it.
So appreciate you.
Is that TJ?
It's the care for me. This is literally $2.99 worth of thing, but it's the care. I appreciate it.
Yes.
All right, this is again Martinelli's bear. Cheers.
Perfect.
Sparkling though.
I appreciate it.
Lovely.
Sparkling.
Awesome. So let's jump into dating.
Okay.
You go first. No, kidding. No, so, I've worked in the industry for all of my adult life.
Mm-hmm.
And you have too.
Mm-hmm.
And we're single. I mean, when I'm single, I'm dating. I'm in a wonderful relationship.
Yes.
So let's talk about it.
Well, I have a question for you off the jump.
Yeah.
The industries that come to mind, do you think this industry has a specific relationship with dating?
What do you mean it has a specific relationship?
Like, is there a specific connotation around dating with the entertainment industry, not just film, but entertainment? Like,
I don't think.
Do you think about doctors who date, or do you like?
Do I think about doctors who date? That's a good question.
An industry thing, or is this a human thing?
I think it's a both thing.
Okay.
But I really do think it's an industry thing.
Okay.
I really do.
Okay.
Yeah, I do.
Oh.
I feel like I know other professions where this is not a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas in the industry, like, I think it is a thing.
What is the
or
thing?
the lack of it.
Okay, I was going to say, what is the thing?
I think it's harder to have long-term relationships in the industry, in this film and television industry,
mm-hmm.
than in some other industries.
Mm-hmm.
And I could be wrong,
mm-hmm.
but I do think it's difficult. I think
mm-hmm.
it's really hard.
I agree with you.
And it's because there is no paradigm, right? So, if you're an accountant,
mm-hmm.
like it's like, okay, we go to school, we get our license, we're an accountant, and we work and we know what we have to do, and we've reached our goal. If you're a doctor, it's like, okay, I go to college and then medical school and then this and internship and residency. Okay,
mm-hmm.
I've reached my goal. A lot of time with artists in particular, our goals are very much we are in constant pursuit. Either we've had successes, either we've had failures, and it's not it requires all of us, like in all of our being. Like, we have to really commit to pursuing that goal and that dream. And I think that in dating other artists, the beauty is that they understand that. However, also what can be the harm is that how do you make time,
mm-hmm.
for and make space for someone else when we're both like in pursuit of that dream?
Man, and even hearing you talk about it, I'm like, oh, it's so tough.
Yeah. Have you dated within the industry?
I have dated. I have not been in a serious, committed relationship within it.
Really?
All of my serious, committed relationships have been with men who are not in this industry.
Really, Tiffany?
And yes, and that's so when I listen to you talk, so when the strike happened, I had to go work a job that was not in this industry. I had to go work at a high school. And sure enough, my last relationship sprouted from that job. We both worked there. And I went back there yesterday to speak on a panel, and as soon as I walked in, it was the same culture. It was like the men was like, hey girl, you beautiful, like what's up, like
Really?
I was only there for a couple of hours. And
Really?
it was very much I'm going to approach you, I think you're so beautiful that let me open this door for you, just like a very, I don't know, chivalrous atmosphere, which I was used to for the entire time I
Yeah.
was there. And it had me thinking, because it had me thinking about this subject. It's like, man, that feels so good, but I know certain aspects of my life they just don't understand. So what does
Ooh.
it mean to be like, I think a lot of us artists equate being seen as love, like, because that's a quote I think is like, to be loved is to be seen.
Yeah.
So I think that's why we understand each other, and it's not just platonically as well. That's why we have this deep understanding of each other, because we see each other. We see the artist in you. I see the creator in you. So that feels like I love you. But then there's life. Then there's
Yeah.
like there's so much unknown. There's a culture of not knowing in our industry. You don't know when your next gig is gonna come. It's accepted.
Ooh.
But with that unknown, there's an acceptance or expectation of instability.
Yeah.
But instability doesn't necessarily work with a paradigm or a part of your life that's supposed to be the most stable.
Yeah.
And that is starting a family or creating a family or whatever. So I think we have this desire for something that is not, that works against, and is not all the way across the board, but works against the culture of what we do as artists. It's hard.
I'm still on the fact that you haven't dated anybody, and like,
No, girl.
you know, it's interesting for me is that and I should preface this, like, I forgot to warn you, because I'm like, I have my boyfriend here, so if I talk about past relationships, I love you so much, Teddy. You mean the world to me, okay? Thank you. But
he's like, huh.
You know, I've only dated outside of my very first relationship when I got to Atlanta. I've only dated within people in the industry.
You industry tramp.
Literally, like I've only dated someone who was in some way involved in
That's so
in the arts. I've always dated within the arts. Always.
So when I say, oh, let's do this right quick, what do you consider, because this is a thing, what do you consider, what is dating? Is it the going on dates? Is it the we're talking to each other?
I'm quantifying it as going on dates and being in relationship with, like calling somebody your
boyfriend, girlfriend,
or girlfriend,
okay,
or marrying or spouse or partner or whatever.
Okay.
Yeah, I've only.
Wow, that's how.
Whether it be like an editor, or an actor, or like just someone somehow involved in the industry, a writer, like always.
I've been head over heels with industry people. I've been in situationships with industry people.
So you really, really liked people.
Yes, but the men to manage to make me get into a relationship are the men who, the perfect combination. They work outside of this industry, but they have an interest. Like they used to rap, or they wrote a book. You know what I'm saying? They understand it a little bit, but not enough to where they made it their life's work. Yeah. Which is kind of perfect, because, you know, for me, you gotta have me up here before anything else. Like I need to mentally be able to be with you mentally, but not nothing serious in this industry, because I kind of do gravitate towards men who remind me of my father, and he is not. He was not an artist.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've definitely gone the artist route many a time.
So, what's your experience with that?
You know, sometimes it was honestly great.
Yeah.
It was great to be able to feel like we speak the same language. It was great to be like, oh, okay, this person understands my plight, my struggle, and I understand theirs. It was helpful, you know, in terms of, like, you know, advice and things like that. So I feel like more often it was more positive than not positive. Like, I feel like, other than one person, I feel like I've had really great boyfriends. yeah, I feel like other than one person, I feel like, yeah, I've had really, really great experiences with dating. I do feel like what you were talking about, the lack of kind of security, and that has been something that I've experienced, in terms of, I dated somebody who was like, treated me like a queen. I mean, like, when the work was there, I felt like I was a princess. I felt like everything was there. When the work wasn't there, it was like, and the thing is like, and the work did, for a lot of people in the industry, we are working gig to gig, so there is a possibility that, like, we live in the space of the unknown. So, how they approach the relationship did completely change once that gig ended. And then for them, it ended unexpectedly. And so it was just like a complete 180.
Of the person's character or personality?
Yes, absolutely. But I think it was because, of course, your livelihood and sustainability was gone. And so I feel like the relationship crumbled, like, literally right when that gig had stopped.
It would be so convenient, and I'm torn on this. It would be so convenient for my partner to be in the industry, like, because what we do in most roles in entertainment is not it's like 9 to 9. It's around the clock. It's
Not
7 days
all.
a week. That's most, whether you're an actor, director, writer, whatever. So that would be so convenient, and that's why I go back to the being seen. But that changing of character, or changing of personality, or changing the way he treats you based on what is coming in, is one of my biggest fears.
Really?
That's why it takes me so long, because I
to
really
what?
To decide that I want to be in a relationship,
To trust that person?
yes,
Yeah.
to trust, to get comfortable enough to trust, because the switching, that scares me.
Really?
The switching of the attitude, the switching of the personality, the switching of the treatment, and that could be some trauma stuff, I don't know, but and I do find that in this industry there is a lot of personality shifts.
But a part of me feels like I couldn't blame him. And what I mean by that is, like, if your identity, or your worth is attached to your look at your face already.
I was like, why is it? But I'll let you finish.
I understand that if you've had a big major life change and transition, and your worth is attached to that, I understand that you don't have the time, space, energy, attention to put the same amount of focus that he was putting into the relationship. Not that it's okay, and not that it's not, like, painful or whatnot, but I feel like I can sympathize or empathize with the fact that, like, oh, I don't know how you navigate that, Well, I understand how you struggle to navigate that.
I'm glad you mentioned worth being tied to do you think this industry, well, clearly, if I'm asking this question, I'm asking for a reason. Do you think this industry attracts broken people?
Oh gosh, do I think this industry attracts broken people? Absolutely.
And if we're a bunch of broken people, is it a shock that we have a bunch of broken relationships? And this is not to pick on us, because I'm including myself in this, my God. But an example of this is, I find it hard to date someone, especially for the longest, I had a no actor rule. It took me so long to entertain a man who's an actor, simply because of the nature of my job. I want a line drawn. But if every time I feel
I
like...
didn't draw that line, but anyway.
It's okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I went there eventually. But I find myself being put, I hate to do this, but for the sake of words that we all understand, in a masculine role when I date men in my industry, because I'm usually, especially actors, I'm usually giving guidance. I'm usually
yeah.
the one guiding.
Yeah.
And it's very hard for me to switch that on and off because you need advice or you need a hookup, you need this and that. So when it's time to be soft with you and be submissive to you, how? When every time I'm the teacher.
I did have a relationship and we were never a exclusive couple, but we did go on a lot of dates. And they were an actor. And I said, my biggest thing is that you don't let me take off my hat. Like, you don't let me take off my casting director hat. And it's like, I know that you don't mean to, but, like, asking me a question or what do you think about this? And look at it, like, it makes me have to kind of put that hat on again. And I just felt like I couldn't necessarily, like, exhale from it all because I was always kind of like, let me put the hat on again, So, yeah, that was part of the reason why we never got to that place of being in a relationship, because I don't think that they were able to separate that. And I needed somebody who could let me not be a casting director when we were together,
But we know, and I'm just sitting here listening to talk. We know couples who are in successful relationships who work together. Like, think about Asante and Jasmine. Like, 2 producers, married, kids, all that. It works. It can work.
Yes.
But I would love to I would love a round table of
Houseway.
I know where I'm gonna find them, but I would love a round table of people who are in relationships successfully and in work relationships successfully at the same time, because it's like, how do you take your hat off and when do you take your hat off, or is it that you keep the hat on all day?
I'm still on the whole broken people in this industry.
Okay, let's talk about it.
Because, like, a part of me asked myself, what about me attracted being in this industry in the first place? And I don't mean that like in a negative way, but like a lot of times the environment can feel, thankfully I have worked on many sets where that was not the case, but it can feel hostile. Like, I'm overworked. I got here at 6 a.m. I'm leaving at 10 p.m. or whatever time. I may not be with the people who have the best bedside manner. They may be crass or rude, or if I make a mistake, I may not be welcomed, or it may not be okay. It's rushed, it's hurried. What about me draw me to this space? I could have been in a nice, cushy corporate job and, and have benefits and have all the things, but that's not what, and I'm not saying that brokenness brought me to this. I'm not saying that, but I am curious, like, what did make this environment feel okay for me? When I think other people would have been like, and I have had other people, I've had people who've asked to work with me in casting and whatnot, and then they've been like, so what's my moving package? What's my benefit package? Like, what's my, how many holidays and sick days off of? And I'm like, none. But that is their standard for themselves. And I'm like, why wasn't that mine? Why wasn't it that like that for me? I don't know. I don't think it's broke. Well, wait, why did you do that face?
I'm like, well, why couldn't you have been broken?
Or
why couldn't there have been? Two things could be true at once. Like, art exists for a reason.
Yes.
And there is beauty in broken cracks. Like, there is beauty. We're not saying. So I feel like we want to, and this is why we're here, have the good of this stuff and not the bad, and not realizing the good of it comes out of the bad.
Have you ever seen Whiplash? I'm totally going in a weird direction.
Such an amazing movie.
So in Whiplash, it's about this drummer who's in college, and he has dreams of being a successful drummer, and his teacher is damn near abusive. And his teacher pushes him literally to the absolute brink. And there's a beautiful, I'm not going to give away the story, but there's a beautiful ending in this. And a part of me wonders, like, as artists, do we need that? And if we feel like, why do we need that? And like, do we need? I feel like a lot of people are seeking or manifesting or attracting that teacher. Like, I need you to pull out the best in me, but the cost that it comes at is a lot, you know. And I'm not saying just artists and beyond, you know. What is that about?
Look, this make it a little deep.
Like,
and I am not a psychologist.
He literally put himself in a space to be broken.
Yeah.
And I don't know if he was broken before then.
There we go.
Okay. All right, continue.
Think about it. Just think about it. Think about it. Think as I look at this child. Think about your childhood or anyone's childhood. A lot of us as actors, that yearning started out young.
Ooh.
That yearning, maybe not the actual career or journey, but that one day. And usually that one day is actually coming from avoiding or dismissive or avoiding what is in reality at that moment. There is a lot of things that happen in childhood that you can't physically disappear from, but you can disappear from here.
Oh, yeah.
You go into your imagination. And if you spend years building that muscle of imagination, of course you want a career. It's like, I'm real good at imagining.
Yeah.
Here's the career where I get to get paid
to do that.
To imagine, whether that's painting, making music, acting. But what's on the other side of that is you're building your muscle of imagination and not building the muscle of being present in reality. And so here we are to talk about the stuff we were talking about earlier. Now we have a bunch of people who are really good at being delusional and make it look beautiful, because that's what Hollywood is. It's really beautiful lies. It's really beautiful imagination. And I'm talking about literally filmmaking, literally theater. Like, you're not literally in the middle of the ocean in deep blue sea. You're not literally on the moon. This comes from an imagination, which is genius.
Yeah.
From the set deck to the writer to the producer, it's genius. But this is not real.
Yeah.
And if you don't get some type of grip on reality, if you don't strengthen the other side of life, then that's all you left with.
Yeah.
And you meet other people who are extremely okay with living in delusion and not reality. And then y'all come together and be in love. And then real life happens. Someone dies. You go bankrupt. A strike happens and now you got to go get a real job.
Yeah.
COVID happens and you're stuck in the house with each other. Your imagination and world that you created in your mind crumbles and you're left with reality with someone who's not used to reality.
Yeah.
That's why I can go into a high school with these men who drive trucks and walk out of there with a relationship in 3 business days, because they're like, okay, sweetie, I like this about you in real life. Like this, we can go get married in real life. But guess what happens? At bed at night, and this happened in my real relationship, at bed at night, I would lay next to him and I'd be like, I want to write this, whatever. And he'd be like, well, let me go look at these houses.
Really?
Because he was in real estate. Oh, that's the other thing. Man was paid money teaching out of I guess boredom or whatever. I don't know. Money. But money isn't everything. And a lot of times in our industry, we don't have that money.
That's good, Tiff.
We don't have that money.
He couldn't speak to the dreamer in
He
you.
couldn't speak to the dreamer in me. And I have to figure out before the clock is up which one is most important, because trying to make them both happen may delay what I ultimately want. I have to accept what I want. And if I'm not okay with what I want, I won't get with what I want. So I need to either accept that I am a dreamer, and that means it's going to be a little less money in the account, or I need to accept that I want a man with money. And it's going to be more money in that account, but I'm going to have to dream on my own. And I have to pick one. But trying to figure out, bouncing back and forth and taking someone on a ride with you is how we get these broken relationships in this industry.
I don't even know what to say.
I'm just saying. And we need to be more real about it. And I'm the problem. Up until now that I'm come to this realization, I'm good now.
I was
But
gonna
before
say,
that,
I was gonna,
I'm the problem.
I was gonna ask if you feel like you're a good girlfriend.
I was not. I'm a
Mm.
very selfish girlfriend.
Really?
Yeah, because I'm a very focused person.
Got you.
I'm in a relationship with people who are not in this industry.
Yeah.
To someone who's in this industry, I'm probably the most amazing
Yeah.
girl.
Yeah.
But there's no stability there. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I was asking because I do feel like a lot of times within dating in the industry, like I'm not going to say you have to be selfish, but what you said, you have to be self-focused. So you are very aware of everything that you're doing.
Yeah.
And a lot of times that's not necessarily the best combination for a relationship.
Yeah.
You know, so.
And that's why I admire you people who are in relationships, because you're able to give yourself to someone else. And you have someone who supports you giving yourself to someone else and yourself. Whereas in a lot of these traditional relationships that I've experienced, you cannot be the focus. The focus is especially if they have children, the focus is, other things that they deem to be more serious.
I'm just thinking, I'm like, what a blessing it is that I am in a relationship with a dreamer,
man,
and someone who supports my dreams.
I've
taken that for granted. Like when you said it, I was like, because
Yeah.
in my mind, I'm like, of course they would support my dreams, and I'm like,
no.
oh, I've taken that for granted.
Especially
that
as a woman.
Right, that I am in a relationship with someone who not only supports me, but literally pushes me toward it.
It almost makes me want to cry.
You know, like what a beautiful thing. And it's something that I've almost, like, I just didn't realize how special that is. And literally the reason why we're doing this podcast is because I have a supportive boyfriend who's like, this is what you told me your dreams were, right? Okay, so why haven't you done them? Okay, so let me help you get to that place. And I'm like, oh, not everybody has that, you know?
And to bring
and not everybody has people who just believe that they can, let alone put them. Doja, I'm talking good stuff here. but let alone will say, okay, and let me try to help you get there.
Because to bring this full circle, he pushes the dreamer in you. And
Bruh.
What did I just say that dreamer comes from? It comes from the child in us.
Bruh.
So he sees little Rhavynn. That's why I say it almost makes me want to cry.
Yeah.
Because that's
Let it
why
out.
we end up in, look, that's why we, that's why it's so hard to be as an artist, so hard to be in a relationship with someone who doesn't understand, because I'm taking it as you're not stepping on adult Tiffany. You're stepping on little girl Tiffany, who was in her room.
Yeah.
Making these dreams to avoid the situation I was in.
Ooh.
So that is
get the tissue, somebody. But yeah,
that is what we see in each other as artists, and that's why
Yeah.
sometimes. So to bring some positive and solution to this, as an artist, it's not impossible to be in a relationship with another artist if you're willing to do the work to be a healed and whole artist, healing where that comes from, and still go after the dream.
Yeah.
You don't have to hold on to the hurt child. Hold on to the child that made it happen, the child that's strong and made it happen and held on to this dream, and now I'm an adult and I can take responsibility and accountability for my life.
Yeah.
Thank you. And I see you see me. I could be a business person and an artist.
Yeah.
I don't just have to be a person who imagines. I can be a person who imagines and who executes.
Wow.
That's the whole relationship.
Wow.
But until we learn how to execute and imagine, we're hurting each other.
Yeah.
And then we end up marrying, and it happens a lot. People we're not even really in love with.
Yeah.
It's just what's available at that time and help us get to a certain place. But you lay in bed at night and the child version of you is dreaming, and the person next to you don't even think like that.
Right. Doesn't even have the language, or
don't
the
even have the
capacity to think
language,
like that.
and it's so hurtful. It's hurtful.
Wow.
I don't know which is better. I don't have the answer. I'm single.
I think as you talk, I'm like, I think you have to find someone who can speak to and nurture the dreamer in you. You have to. What else? Like how I in my opinion, like how could you not? You know? I think that's a non-negotiable. That would be a non-negotiable. So I feel like whoever you are, yeah, because I think that even if someone, as you mentioned, like had the money to be able to provide, I think that you would still feel not seen.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that that's more being seen. I think is more important than, you know, someone who's just like, oh, okay, I got the money, but I don't see how I can support and nurture that dream in you.
You know, the other day he called me. It's been a year since we broke up. He called me, and we're doing this whole catch-up call, the call you have with your ex after you haven't talked for a while. And he was like, oh, I thought I'll see you on TV by now. And I was like, oh, yeah, I got some things going. You know, I just catch this thing. It's on HBO right now. You can go watch it. Da, 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 da. And he was like, oh, okay. He was like, well, I got a new franchise I'm about to open in Stone Mountain or something like that. And I'm like, and I just instantly just zoned out. Like, because I was like, oh, yeah, I have this thing that I cast that is on HBO. You can go watch it right now. And that was most of our relationship. He's like, oh, okay, well, I got this new franchise. And he was like, if you want to make something, you know, I can give you something, this and that. I don't want you to pay for anything I make.
Yeah.
I want you to look at what I did and be
Yeah.
like, dang, that's dope. Or dang, like,
Oh,
you so dope. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I also wouldn't mind you paying for it. So that's why I was like, up until
Exactly.
then, I am the problem.
Yeah.
But what you just said made me realize, yeah, it's a non-negotiable. I in this
is.
moment, I'm realizing, like, no, I better if I want to get paid, I better pay myself, because that part of me, that is a non-negotiable.
Absolutely.
That's insane.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, that's insane.
Good. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Give us a question so we can end this out good.
Yeah.
Hmm?
He's so funny. The fact that this mic is a thing is hilarious.
You probably already answered my question, but I do have a question as an actor. So how do you deal with like a partner that is an actor as well, and like she has like an issue with like certain roles, like as far as like sex roles or nudity roles and stuff like that? Like I feel like.
And you're comfortable with those roles?
Yeah, I'm comfortable with
Okay.
those roles. She's not comfortable. She said she wouldn't do it with another man because she feels like that would be cheating on who she's talking to. So we didn't make it official yet because she's kind of scaring me with that. She's not speaking to my dream. She's not like, this is something that I'm trying to do. Facts. I'm trying to show the world, put it on display. But can you answer that, Tiffany?
You
or
know that.
Rhavynn?
Yeah. I'll let you go first. Go for it.
Well, it's. I hear the question, but it's honestly, it sounds like you have a boundary and she has a boundary, and the question isn't how do you feel about your partner who's okay with the sex. Is like, how do you feel about boundaries? You know, like that sucks though. That because to you that's something that's so small, but to her that's something that's so big. I'm not sure if you want to convince each other how you should feel about it. You got to decide, the both of you. Are y'all is this thing worth moving around your boundary? That's a you decision. Where do you if I was her, I'd be like, oh, so this is the relationship. This is how you see your career. Which is most important? You doing a sex scene or you having me in this relationship? If I were you, I could see how you could be like, well, I've had this since I was this. Like, I've been in this game for this long. I'm trying to go here. You trying to stop me from going there? Like, that's selfish. That's what I'm saying. Like, not to call y'all broken, but
that's why I think I tried to like talk to somebody in the industry, because I thought she would be able to understand that aspect of the industry.
You're
and
still
she
individuals,
doesn't, with
your own lived experiences and lives. She lived a whole life before you and you before her. So just because y'all in the same industry, got the same job, don't mean y'all have the same values. It's values over everything, no matter what industry you in. If your values on the line, good luck.
Okay. I think one of the things that I talk about in my relationship is one, like, I love what you said about boundaries. It's like, one, I don't have any control over the other person. Like, they can't control me. I can't control them. And also, like, I feel like we're very keenly aware of, like, oh, that doesn't have anything to do with me. Like, your decision to, like, if you choose to want to take roles, and this is me just taking from a different standpoint, if you choose that you're comfortable with taking roles that may be sexually implicit, that is your personal choice for your artistry, and I don't have any control or say over that, because you are the artist. This is a choice that you've made for you, your body, and your work of art. And I think having a partner that can be secure and understanding, like, this has nothing to do with me. It has nothing. It doesn't mean that he loves me any less. It doesn't mean that I'm not worthy. It just means that he has made a decision for himself, for his art, for how he wants to, for the artist and actor that he wants to be. And having someone that understands that is, I think, very paramount and important.
I agree. You were a
commend
person
you as a woman.
Yes.
That's good.
And
That's
it
important.
has nothing
That's
to do
important.
with the other person.
I agree.
That's an
You
important trait to have right there. And
Yeah.
Especially if you understand how this stuff goes down on set.
Yes,
Like, it's
yes.
like a million people sometimes dependent in the room. Like,
right. And I understand people making that choice that they are not comfortable with
yeah.
for them.
Them.
But I cannot control that's a choice that someone else has made for themselves.
You cannot
period.
control another
And that's
person.
just more than just that. There's a whole lot of things like I can't control. Like, that's a choice that you're okay with for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
But,
I love that answer. That's the Aquarius in her. Like, free.
You good? And I don't know how to end this.
And
So I just say, and scene. Well, thank you. This has been really good.
Oh, thank you. It has been good.
I pray that you find someone who can nurture the dreamer of little Tiffany.
Wow. Thank you,
I
Rhavynn.
do,
God, I hope hear that prayer, please.
Yes, because it is so worth it, and it is so valuable, and you're worth it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Yes.
And I am happy for you.
Thank you.
And that your little girl, your little Rhavynn
Yes.
is seen and nurtured.
Absolutely.
That's a blessing.
Absolutely.
Oh, thank you, Rhavynn.
Thanks, Tiff.
Beautiful.
Good stuff.